The silver disk of the Concordat ship cut through Earth's atmosphere, gleaming against the blue sky as it descended toward the designated landing zone outside Seoul. Dr. Jiwoo Park clutched her tablet tightly, her heart racing as she stood among the assembled world leaders and scientists. After decades of searching the stars for signs of intelligent life, first contact had come to them instead. "They're really here," whispered Minho beside her, his usual confident demeanor replaced by awe. As the chief xenobiologist for the Korean Space Agency, he had prepared his entire career for this moment. The ship settled on the landing pad with barely a sound. For 30 seconds, nothing happened. Then a seam appeared in the smooth hull, widening into a doorway from which bright light poured out. The aliens emerged. Jiwoo's scientific mind immediately began cataloging details. The Concordat representative stood nearly 7 feet tall with slender limbs that moved with uncanny grace. Their skin shimmered with a bluish tint under the sunlight. Most striking were their eyes, large, multifaceted organs that seemed to take in everything at once. What Jiwoo hadn't expected was their environmental suits. Despite Earth's atmospheric analysis being shared during initial communications, the aliens wore form-fitting protective gear with breathing apparatus covering the lower portion of their faces. The lead alien approached the human delegation. "I am High Commander Near of the Galactic Concordat," it said through a translation device. "We come to assess Earth's readiness for inclusion in interstellar affairs." The following weeks became a blur of diplomatic meetings and scientific exchanges. Jiwoo found herself assigned to the Joint Research Team, working directly with the Concordat scientists. She noticed how they moved with surprising strength despite their slender appearance, easily lifting equipment that took 2 humans to move. "Your physical structure is quite interesting," said Lodo, a Concordat biologist, as he examined human medical records. "So fragile, yet you've survived this long." Jiwoo wasn't sure if she should be offended. "We've adapted well to our environment." "Indeed. Adaptation takes many forms," Lodo replied, adjusting his breathing apparatus. "Some more successful than others." The Concordat's assessment of humanity became clear during the 3rd week after their arrival. High Commander Near addressed the United Nations General Assembly. His words translated to all Earth languages simultaneously. "Your species shows promising intellectual development and cultural richness," Near stated. "However, we have concerns about your physical limitations. Your bone density, muscle strength, and sensory capabilities fall below galactic standards for self-sufficient civilizations." Murmurs spread throughout the assembly hall. "The Concordat offers Earth protectorate status," Near continued. "We will guide your development and ensure your safety until your species advances sufficiently." Jiwoo watched the faces of world leaders on the screens around her. Many showed anger, others uncertainty. Protectorate status, essentially making Earth a dependent colony, wasn't what humanity had hoped for from first contact. In the research lab the next day, Jiwoo noticed something odd. The Concordat scientists requested frequent breaks, retreating to their ship every few hours. When working in the lab, they constantly monitored readings on their wrist devices. "Is everything okay?" she asked Lodo after he checked his device. "For the 5th time that hour." "Environmental calibration," he replied curtly. "Nothing of concern." Later that week, Jiwoo was reviewing atmospheric data when Tae-hyun, her supervisor, called her to his office. "The Concordat has requested extensive atmospheric samples from different regions of Earth," he said, showing her the list. "They're particularly interested in oxygen and nitrogen levels." "That's odd," Jiwoo replied. "We already provided that data before they landed." "They want their own measurements," Tae-hyun shrugged. Who knows why aliens do what they do? But Jiwoo's curiosity was piqued. That evening she noticed a Concordat scientist named Val struggling with his breathing apparatus in the corridor. She approached to help. "Your device seems malfunctioning," she said. "Can I assist?" Val stepped back quickly. "Stay back, no assistance needed." He hurriedly adjusted his equipment, breathing normalizing. "Your concern is appreciated." As he hurried away, Jiwoo realized something significant. The Concordat weren't just studying humans, they were struggling with Earth itself. She began reviewing all data exchanges with new eyes, focusing not on what the aliens said about humans, but on how they interacted with Earth's environment. 3 days later, during a high-level briefing, a Concordate official removed his glove to handle a human artifact. Within seconds, his skin began to redden where it contacted Earth's air. He quickly replaced the glove, but not before Jiwoo noticed. The supposed weakness of humanity might be more complicated than it appeared. Something about Earth itself made these physically superior beings uncomfortable, and Jiwoo was determined to discover what it was. The Concordate embassy rose like a gleaming bubble on the outskirts of Seoul, its metallic surface reflecting the sunlight. Unlike human buildings with their windows and open spaces, the alien structure remained completely sealed. Airlocks served as the only entry points, with elaborate purification systems that humans had to pass through before entering. Dr. Jiwoo Park adjusted her lab coat as she waited in the decontamination chamber. After her observations about the aliens' environmental discomfort, she had been reassigned to work directly with the Concordate scientific team. The chamber hissed as it completed its cycle, and she stepped into the main research area. Lead researcher. Val looked up from his workstation. Unlike the other Concordate members who maintained distance from humans, Val had shown genuine interest in collaboration. Even so, he never removed his breathing apparatus in her presence. "Dr. Park, your punctuality is appreciated," Val said, his translation device giving his words a flat tone. "We have much to discuss regarding your planet's seasonal variations." Jiwoo noticed how Val checked the readings on his wrist device more frequently than usual. "Is your environmental suit functioning properly today?" she asked. Val paused. "Minor adjustments are needed. Your atmosphere has interesting properties." Over the next few hours, they reviewed climate data from Earth's various regions. Jiwoo observed how the Concordate scientists showed particular interest in areas with lower oxygen levels, like high mountain regions. "Your people can live in the Himalayan territories?" asked Val with apparent surprise. "Yes, though humans need time to adapt to high altitudes," Jiwoo explained. "The lower oxygen requires our bodies to produce more red blood cells." "Fascinating adaptation," murmured Val. Something in his tone suggested more than casual interest. Later, that week, Jiwoo brought her colleague Hyunwoo Lee to the embassy. As a respiratory specialist, Hyunwoo had developed theories about the Concordate's environmental suits. "I think their baseline respiratory system is completely different from ours," Hyunwoo whispered as they waited in the airlock. "They might breathe something other than oxygen as their primary gas." Jiwoo considered this. That would explain their discomfort here. They were escorting junior researcher Mok, a younger Concordate scientist, to a groundwater testing site. Unlike his superiors, Mok seemed less careful around humans, often getting closer than the others would dare. At the testing site, Mok bent down to examine the water collection system. As he reached forward, his suit caught on a protruding metal edge. A small tear opened along his sleeve. What happened next occurred in seconds. Earth's air rushed into the breach in his suit. Mok let out a high-pitched sound that needed no translation, pure panic. He clutched at his arm where the tear had formed, his skin turning a dark purple where it contacted the air. "Emergency! Suit breach!" Hyunwoo shouted into his communication device. 2 Concordate security officers appeared almost instantly, surrounding Mok with a portable containment field. They sprayed something into the field that created a foggy atmosphere around him. Mok's breathing stabilized, though he continued to tremble. "Get the humans away," ordered the senior security officer. "This area is now restricted." Back at her apartment that evening, Jiwoo reviewed her notes from the incident. The Concordate had classified all details about Mok's condition, but she had seen enough. Earth's atmosphere was actively harmful to them. Her phone rang. Hyunwoo calling. "I've been reviewing what happened," he said without greeting. "That wasn't an allergic reaction we saw. It looked like chemical burning." "From oxygen?" Jiwoo asked. "Possibly. At our atmospheric concentration, oxygen is actually quite reactive. We've just evolved to handle it." The next morning, Jiwoo arrived at the embassy to find it in lockdown. After an hour of waiting, she was finally admitted and escorted to a new section she hadn't visited before. Inside, she found Senior Concordat official Trell waiting. "Dr. Park," Trell said, his posture rigid. "Yesterday's incident has raised concerns about human understanding of our physiological needs." "Is researcher Mock recovering?" she asked. "He will survive," Trell answered coldly. "However, this incident demonstrates why your species requires guidance. Your carelessness with atmospheric contaminants nearly killed one of our scientists." Jiwoo felt her temper flare. "Contaminants? You mean the air we breathe every day? The air you knew about before you came here?" Trell's multifaceted eyes narrowed. "Watch your tone, Dr. Park. The Concordat has deemed Earth's atmosphere dangerous by galactic standards. This is precisely why your species needs protection. You exist in conditions most civilized beings would consider lethal." As Jiwoo left the embassy that afternoon, security had been doubled. The Concordat was taking no more chances with their environmental safety, but their reaction had confirmed her suspicions. "They're not protecting us from the galaxy," she told Hyunwoo as they met in her lab later. "They're protecting themselves from us, from our world." That evening, Jiwoo gained access to the environmental readings the Concordat had been collecting. As she reviewed the data patterns, one element kept appearing with warning indicators next to it. Oxygen. Earth's 21% oxygen atmosphere was being flagged as a severe hazard. The so-called superior beings found humans' natural environment poisonous, and that changed everything about humanity's place in the galactic community. In the quiet depths of a forgotten research laboratory, Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood motionless, her eyes fixed on a series of strange readings that would change everything humanity understood about life on Earth. The small glass container before her held something extraordinary, a microorganism that seemed to challenge every known rule of biological survival. The organism was tiny, almost invisible to the naked eye, but its potential was massive. It survived in conditions that should have been impossible: extreme temperatures, zero oxygen, and environments that would kill most living things. Elena had discovered something that could rewrite the textbooks of biology, microbiology, and potentially the entire understanding of how life could exist. Her colleague, Dr. Michael Chen, leaned closer to the microscope, his breath barely moving. They had been working for months testing and retesting their samples, hardly believing what they were seeing. This microorganism wasn't just surviving, it was thriving in conditions that should have been completely hostile to life. The research had started accidentally. During a routine deep-sea exploration project, they had collected samples from thermal vents miles beneath the ocean's surface. These vents were known to be brutally hot, dark, and seemingly uninhabitable. Yet something was living there, something that didn't need oxygen to survive. Traditional science always believed that oxygen was essential for life. Every textbook, every scientific paper had stated this as an absolute truth. But here was proof that life could exist differently. This microorganism had developed a completely unique metabolic process that didn't require oxygen at all. Elena's hands trembled slightly as she recorded her observations. Each note was carefully written, each measurement precisely documented. She knew that what they had discovered could be more than just a scientific breakthrough. It could be a fundamental shift in understanding life itself. The implications were staggering. If life could exist without oxygen in the most extreme environments on Earth, what did that mean for the possibility of life on other planets? What did it mean for understanding how life might have first emerged billions of years ago? Michael started running complex genetic tests, trying to understand the molecular structure of this extraordinary organism. Its DNA was unlike anything they had ever seen before. It seemed to have adaptive mechanisms that allowed it to not just survive, but actually transform its environment to suit its needs. As word spread through the scientific community, skepticism was high. Many senior researchers dismissed their findings, claiming it was impossible. But Elena and Michael had mountains of evidence. They had recorded, filmed, and documented every single step of their research. The microorganism seemed to communicate in ways never seen before. It could apparently send chemical signals to other similar organisms, creating complex networks of survival strategies. It was almost like a tiny intelligent system that could communicate and adapt faster than any known living thing. Months of rigorous testing followed. International research teams were brought in to verify the findings. Independent laboratories ran their own experiments, and slowly, the scientific world began to realize that something extraordinary had been discovered. What made the discovery even more fascinating was how this microorganism seemed to challenge everything humans thought they knew about life's basic requirements. It didn't need sunlight. It didn't need traditional nutrients. It existed in a realm that seemed more science fiction than scientific reality. Elena often worked late into the night, her passion driving her forward. She knew that this discovery was bigger than her, bigger than the laboratory, bigger than any single scientific achievement. This was about understanding the fundamental nature of life itself. As global scientific conferences discussed their research, Elena remained humble. She understood that this was just the beginning. Each discovery would lead to more questions, more mysteries to unravel. The microorganism was a doorway to understanding life in its most basic, most adaptable form. The world would never look at biology the same way again. The rules had changed. Life, they now knew, was far more complex, far more resilient, and far more mysterious than anyone had ever imagined. And it all started in a small laboratory, with two dedicated scientists who dared to look closer at something most would have overlooked. In the quiet depths of a secret military research facility, Captain Elena Rodriguez stared intently at the holographic display. The quantum communication device they had been developing for months now held the potential to change warfare forever. Her team had discovered a way to transmit encrypted messages across vast distances instantaneously, making traditional communication methods look like ancient smoke signals. The prototype sat on a reinforced glass table, its sleek metallic surface betraying nothing of its revolutionary capabilities. A small blinking light pulsed rhythmically, representing the breakthrough that could shift the balance of global power. Each pulse seemed to whisper of classified secrets and untold strategic advantages. Major James Chen, the project's lead engineer, walked in with a steaming cup of coffee. His hands were steady, but his eyes betrayed a mix of excitement and nervous tension. They both knew that this technology could render current military communication systems completely obsolete. Imagine being able to communicate with special forces teams on the other side of the planet without any risk of interception. It was no longer just a dream. The device worked by exploiting quantum entanglement, a phenomenon that allowed information to be transmitted faster than light. Traditional encryption could be broken, but quantum communication was fundamentally different. Each message would be protected by the laws of quantum mechanics itself, making it virtually impossible to intercept or decode. Military strategists had long understood that information was the most powerful weapon. This device would give their country an unprecedented strategic advantage. Spy networks, military operations, diplomatic communications, everything would become more secure and efficient. But with great power came significant risks. If this technology fell into the wrong hands, it could destabilize global security. The team understood the weight of their responsibility. One small mistake could trigger international conflicts or compromise national security. During test trials, they had successfully transmitted complex coded messages across continents in milliseconds. The results were beyond promising. They were revolutionary. Special forces could now coordinate missions with unprecedented precision. Intelligence agencies could share critical information without fear of compromise. Elena remembered the countless nights of research, the failed experiments, and the moments of breakthrough. Her team had worked tirelessly, driven by a combination of scientific curiosity and patriotic duty. They were not just developing a communication device, they were reshaping the future of military strategy. The quantum communication prototype represented more than just technological advancement. It symbolized human ingenuity, the relentless pursuit of innovation that had defined military technology throughout history. From carrier pigeons to radio signals and now to quantum transmission, Communication had always been the backbone of military operations. As sunlight filtered through the secure facility's reinforced windows, Elena and James exchanged a knowing look. They understood that their work would be studied in military academies for generations. This was more than a project. It was a turning point in technological warfare. The device's potential applications were mind-boggling. Imagine special forces teams operating in hostile territories, communicating with absolute security. Naval submarines could maintain contact without revealing their positions. Drone operations could be coordinated with unprecedented accuracy. Yet, they were also aware of the ethical implications. Every technological advancement carried the potential for both protection and destruction. Their quantum communication device could save lives by preventing miscommunications, or it could be used to coordinate more precise military interventions. Major Chen carefully packed the prototype into a reinforced case. Tomorrow, they would present their findings to high-ranking military officials. The fate of their project would be decided in a room filled with stern faces and calculated assessments. As Elena looked at the device, she felt a mix of pride and responsibility. They had created something that could change the world. The future of military communication was no longer about sending messages. It was about sending them with absolute certainty, speed, and security. The quantum communication device sat quietly, its blinking light a subtle reminder of humanity's endless capacity for innovation. In this moment, it represented hope, technology, and the complex dance of global security. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, two unlikely civilizations found themselves on the brink of an extraordinary partnership. The Zornax, a mechanical race of beings from the crystalline planet Nexus 7, had been scanning the galaxy for potential allies. Their metallic bodies gleamed with intricate circuits, and their computational minds were always searching for complex, problem-solving opportunities. Across the galactic divide, the Lumina, a species of energy-based life forms from the gaseous planet Aura 9, drifted in their ethereal, cloud-like formations. They were pure consciousness, capable of transforming and adapting in ways no physical beings could comprehend. Captain Kira of the Zornax exploration team first detected the Lumina's unique energy signature during a routine deep space mapping mission. Unlike previous encounters with other species, something about the Lumina's wavelength felt different, almost harmonious with the Zornax's own technological frequency. Initial communication was challenging. The Zornax used complex mathematical algorithms, while the Lumina communicated through electromagnetic pulses and emotional resonances. For weeks, they exchanged signals that seemed more like abstract art than meaningful dialogue. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. During a particularly intense solar storm, the Lumina noticed the Zornax ship struggling against powerful radiation waves. Without hesitation, they extended a protective energy field that stabilized the mechanical vessel. It was an act of unexpected kindness that changed everything. Captain Kira realized that the Lumina possessed a remarkable ability to manipulate energy in ways their technology could only dream of achieving. Their protective capabilities could revolutionize space travel and defense systems. In return, the Zornax could offer the Lumina advanced computational networks and physical protection mechanisms. As negotiations progressed, both species discovered they complemented each other perfectly. The Zornax's logical precision balanced the Lumina's intuitive and emotional approach to problem-solving. Where the mechanical being saw challenges as mathematical equations, the energy being saw them as interconnected experiences. Their first joint mission involved exploring a dangerous sector of the galaxy known for its unpredictable gravitational anomalies. The Zornax provided structural integrity and navigation, while the Lumina created adaptive energy shields that could bend and reshape according to external threats. The partnership wasn't just technological, it became a cultural exchange. Zornax learned to appreciate emotional nuance, while Lumina gained understanding of systematic thinking. They developed a unique communication method that blended mathematical precision with emotional depth. Scientists from both civilizations worked together on groundbreaking research. They discovered methods of energy storage that could power entire star systems, developed communication technologies that transcended physical limitations, and created defensive mechanisms that could protect entire planetary systems. Not everyone was supportive of this unusual alliance. Conservative factions within both civilizations argued that such fundamental differences made cooperation impossible. Some Zornax believed integrating with energy-based life forms would compromise their technological purity. Some Lumina feared the mechanical nature of the Zornax would restrict their fluid existence. But Captain Kira and the Lumina leadership remained committed. They understood that true progress came from embracing differences, not fearing them. Their partnership represented something more than a strategic alliance. It was a testament to the potential of diverse beings finding common ground. As years passed, their collaboration transformed galactic diplomacy. Other species watched in amazement as the Zornax and Lumina demonstrated that seemingly incompatible civilizations could not only coexist but thrive together. Their joint research stations became beacons of innovation, attracting curious minds from across the universe. The story of their partnership spread like starlight, inspiring hope and challenging long-held beliefs about interdimensional cooperation. What began as a chance encounter between a mechanical race and an energy-based civilization had become a revolutionary model of understanding, respect, and mutual growth. In the grand tapestry of the universe, the Zornax and Lumina had woven a new pattern, one of unity, creativity, and boundless potential.